go. Perfect.
I think it's falling.
Or did it fall? Maybe we can do it this way. I don't want you to have to sit there and do it. I'm sorry. See if I put it on the outside. Do it like that. That should work.
That way you can see yourself.
Yep, then we can roll from there. Hey guys, how are y'all? All right, guys, I promise you I am punctual because I know that all of you have places to be and restaurants to patronize if you have not already had dinner, so I totally understand. Thank you all for coming tonight. I truly, truly appreciate it. I know that it is very hard to believe because it seems like all we talk about is the class of 2022 right now and trying to get our current seniors graduated. But I want you all to know that internally we are very much focused and committed to making sure that things are in place for the class of 2023. So before I say anything else, let me say loud and clear, congratulations to the class of 2023 because you are almost there, guys. I am so proud of you. It is going to be a celebration. It is going to be an amazing year, but it is also going to be a whirlwind of a year with lots of deadlines, lots of things to do, lots of weird words that some of you probably have never heard before, like RDS and FAFSA and CFNC and all of these other analogies that I'm going to throw out at you. And so coming tonight and kind of taking time to invest in this hour, and I promise you I'm going to do my best to get us out of here in an hour, will honest to goodness help you kind of plan and make this transition so much better. So thank you for coming. For those of you who I may not know personally, let me just introduce myself to you. My name is Amy Robinette. I am the upper school counselor here for grades 8 through 12. I have a daughter that was part of the first graduating class of Northeast Carolina Prep School. So she graduated in 2017. And then I have a son who is a current senior here at NECP now. And I say with all sincerity, every bit of anything I could possibly tell you, there is absolutely nowhere else that I would want my children to be, especially for their senior year and beyond. True story. My daughter right now, again, is working, she's graduating from Auburn with her master's in May, and she's looking at PhD programs. She's been offered PhD programs with stipends in excess of $40,000 plus paying her PhD program. But I'm telling you that to tell you that one of the schools that we visited said, I just want you to know that we really didn't know much about your school. And we looked on your website. And I thought, there's a college looking at a PhD program, looking at our website. And they said, you guys have really got a lot of great things going on that make you very unique from some of the other schools. And so again, if you have not felt that up until now, I promise you, you're going to feel it senior year. And it's going to be wonderful. So I've kind of given you an agenda of sorts to go by. Hopefully this will help me kind of go over some talking points. But before we kind of get real far into some of this college planning stuff, I also wanted to introduce somebody that's new to our staff at NECP, but she plays a really important role in keeping like the health of our students in place. And she is also a rising senior parent / grandparent here. So I'm going to let Ms. Pig kind of introduce herself to you for a second.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to make this as quick as possible. I am new to the school, except I've been here since my grandson was in the 3rd grade, and we are been very happy with the school. But I came to Northeast Prep under a grant for on-site COVID testing. It's taken about 8 weeks to get that program off the ground. It's not really off the ground because y'all don't know about it. Y'all are the first parents to hear about it. But we have on-site testing. The health aides got trained today. We had to get an approval of a lab space. We've got testing kits. So we can do both basically an at-home COVID test as well as the PCR test, which is the type that the clinic does. So if a student has symptoms or believes they may have some runny nose, sniffling, maybe a scratchy throat while they're at school, we can do an on-site test starting next week. We've got to get a drop box in place so that our lab will have a spot here at the school to come by and pick that test up. PCR test, that is. PCR test is the one that's the 24-hour one, but we'll only do that one if the at-home or we call it an antigen test, it's the 15-minute test. If that test is negative, the student can stay in school. We're trying to keep students in school. There are some additional information that's going out with report cards to make sure everybody gets it. Also, I wanted to announce whether your student or the students that are here, whether they've had the meningococcal vaccine, which was required as of May 2020. So if you were in the student was in 7th grade, that was prior to 2020. It was the rising 7th graders this year have to have it, so they'll have two, one in the 7th grade and another in the 12th grade. It's not a waste of time or effort because basically no matter if you go to a university, you have to have the 2-shot series of the meningococcal vaccine. If you go to a college, like a community college, and you have to go into a health program, you'll have to have all of the shots up to date. So this summer, if there's a already pre-planned physical schedule for the students this summer, they'll very likely ask you, if they have not already done so, about the meningococcal vaccine. It's been around a long time. It's not like the COVID vaccine. It's passed full FDA approval many, many years ago. So make sure if you do go to the doctor this summer to get any vaccines or for your physical, make sure you get the meningococcal vaccine. I'm going to be sending, I've got about 10 copies. Anybody want a copy of the vaccine information tonight?
We'll have it available afterwards, and I can even scan it and send it to them.
I've already got 10.
That's perfect.
And does anybody have any questions? Oh, one more thing. Make sure that when you do go to the doctor this summer, that you ask for the North Carolina Immunization Registry form, which gives an up-to-date printout, North Carolina Health Registry immunization form, a printout of all their vaccines to make sure that we can make sure that you're up to date and we won't have to bother you. But a letter will go out with report cards. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so again, we're going to keep all of our babies safe. That's important. We're going to keep them healthy. We're going to keep them safe. But the most important thing we're going to do next year is we're going to get them graduated. Okay? That's the most important thing. So to get students graduated from Northeast Carolina Prep School, it requires 28 credits. Okay? So I can share with you your child's transcript if I need to. But what you need to know, the number in your head is 28. Now let me go ahead and tell you that Northeast Carolina Prep School is the only school in Edgecombe County that requires 28 credits to graduate. Okay? Other schools around here you can graduate with 22. We will stand proud and tell you that we are not like a lot of the other schools in Edgecombe County. And when you get a diploma from Northeast Carolina Prep School, schools are going to know that. Okay? So we're looking at 28. Now, what does that 28 look like? You've got to have 4 Englishes. English 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? You've got to have 4 maths. That's your math 1, math 2, Math 3, and then we've got to have a 4th math. Depending on what your career goals are, I will help you with that. For some, that can be a college math, like Math 171. For others, that can be like just another introductory math, like Math 4 for college math. That can be a business math, like accounting. So there's a lot of different options with that 4th math, and I will help you make that choice. We need 3 sciences to graduate. That means chemistry, earth and environmental science, and biology. You need 4 social studies credits. That's going to be civics, that's going to be world history, that's going to be U.S. history, and economics and personal finance. You need a health and PE credit, and you need 2 areas of a foreign language, okay? Whether that's Spanish or whether that's French, or I have had students who've done Latin in the past, but you need 2 of the same language credits. Sign language, yes ma'am, absolutely. Sorry, yes ma'am. That definitely counts. So for most of you, we've already knocked out a large part of that list that I just told you before we get to senior year. And let me tell you, that is very strategic on our part, okay? We go ahead and give you a lot of those required classes in 9th through 11th grade so that, again, what I say the end goal is graduation. We want to know you're going to graduate and that we're not going to get to senior year and realize, oh, we don't have our foreign languages, or we're missing a history class or something that we just can't fit in. So that's where you're going to work towards all of that up until 11th grade. And then I'd say a large percentage, and I don't know that I know the exact percentage of our students, Ms. Drake, that take college classes at the community college, but I'd say over half, we encourage you to, once we get those requirements out of the way, to go and take some classes at the community college. Couple of reasons why we do that. Number 1, we are a college preparatory school. Northeast Carolina Prep School says with all assurances, we are preparing students for life after high school. And we set our requirements based upon the UNC system admissions requirements. So that means that our graduation requirements are the exact same thing that you need to get into East Carolina. They're the exact same thing course-wise that you need to get in to Appalachian, NC State, those schools. But let me be very, very, very clear. At no point do we assume that a 4-year school is the best option for every student. All we're saying is it needs to be an option if you choose it, okay? So at the community college, they are fabulous partners with us, and they have 2 pathways. They have what's called a career and technical pathway, which is going to be things like welding and automotives and nursing and logistics and all of these crazy things that just blow my mind at what we're offering here in Edgecombe County. And then they have college transfer pathway. So what that means is once we get the requirements for graduation, now your kids are working with Miss Drake, and I'm going to let her talk to you in just a second. But they're working with Miss Drake, who is employed with Edgecombe Community College, but who has an office in our building. And she comes here 2 days a week and spends countless hours with our students, making sure that we've got a plan for after graduation, okay? So whatever that looks like. So I'm really, really proud of that. And so the only way I know how to tell you how awesome that is to give you some real life examples, okay? And so what that looks like is, that looks like a student who completed 4 years of college in 3 and saved their parents a ton of money, an entire year of college, because they came into college with so many college credits that the college accepted, that now they were able to go ahead and graduate in 3 years, okay? So that's what that looks like. That looks like a student who goes ahead and understands, I want to be an electrician, and learn those skills, and they take those classes right now in high school. So then they graduate from high school, and even if they don't ever take another college class again, now they have a certification from an industry that will allow them to go work in a business with those credentials, starting out making more money per hour than what they would make coming straight out of high school, okay? What that looks like is, for the first time ever, Edgecombe Community College has worked with us, and we've offered the CNA nursing program. And this year we have 3 students who will not only graduate with their high school diploma, but they're also going to become NA certified nursing assistants. That's what we called it back then. I know the title's changed a little bit now. But long story short, they're going to have that nursing credential already when they graduate from high school. And so what we're doing, and what we're going to encourage your students to do, is to figure out, again, we don't have to know the end goal, but what's your next step, and how we can kind of strategically put you in classes that will help you get there. I'm going to throw this out there because I've heard this entirely too much from uniquely this group of students. And I've heard students say, these college classes don't matter and they're not going to transfer, so why am I taking them? Let me be, again, as clear as I possibly can. I don't have any reason to lie. The state, the legislators, have what's called an articulation agreement with community colleges, which basically means, that state-funded schools, which would be like your NC States, your Carolinas, all of those schools, and the community colleges have a partnership that classes will transfer. Now, some of them are going to transfer in at different levels, but they 100% transfer in. And so when we are putting you in college classes now, it truly does matter and will make a huge difference as you kind of prepare for your future. Okay? And I tell you with all sincerity, it is just such a great, great thing. I can't scream highly enough about it. And again, I will tell you my own personal story because I can, and I can talk about my kids legally and all that good stuff. Most of y'all in here know Caden. But again, Caden said to me early on, you know, he's the 4-year college bound, but he wanted to learn welding. And he's like, Mom, I really want to learn how to do welding. Well, you know what? Okay, let's learn how to do welding. And so I have a kid who 100% is on a 4-year college track, but has now learned and used the community college for skills that are also impacting his ability now to do things that he absolutely enjoys. So I say that to say, like I said, we don't have to just be a one way or the other. There's a lot of different things. With that being said, I am going to turn it over to Miss Drake and let her share with you kind of what's happening in the world of registration and at Edgecombe Community College right now.
Hi there. So I'm Melissa Drake, and I am the liaison between ECC and NECP, and I would just like to say thank you. This is a great school. I've worked literally at every school in Edgecombe County. I spent 30-some years at Southwest. I spent 3 or 4 years at Northern Nash and North Edgecombe, 2 years at Tarboro High. I've been here working with this school for about 4 years now. So I've been to all schools in Edgecombe County. This is an awesome school, and you have a lot to be proud of. So I want to talk to you a little bit about, I want to touch on what Ms. Robinette said to explain the difference in the types of college classes. So there are basically 3 pathways. I know she talked about 2, but one of them really you could diverge into 2 different ways in order to take college classes. One of the ways you take them is because you know, when I say you, I mean you kids, you know you want to graduate high school, you want to go get a job, probably because you want to start making money, and you want your job to send you back to school somewhere. And so you know you're going to go into the workforce, and you want to do that with as much skills as you have because you want to go ahead and get health insurance and a 401k plan. There are so many companies right here in Edgecombe County. Corning will hire you right out of high school and pay you $19 an hour and give you health insurance and 2 weeks vacation your first year, going up to 4 weeks your second year. They will give you a 401k, and they can't get enough people to go to work. So I'm thinking about also getting a job at Corning because it will pay more than what I'm getting paid right now. I'll go ahead and tell you. But either way, so some kids know that's what they want to do. So they take a career pathway. They take the electrical classes, the welding classes, they take facility maintenance. They take, it may be they want to go to work in a business. They take business classes, accounting classes. They may want to go to work in a daycare. They take early childhood classes. They take those classes because they want to get into the working world and then continue their education. In those classes, some of them require a 2.8 GPA. If that is the case, it's because that pathway also includes college transfer classes that can be used, like she was talking about, at a 2-year or 4-year college. Not all of the classes can, but some of them can. So that if their employer sends them back to school or they go back to school at night, they've also got some college credits built up. Some of them do not require a 2.8 GPA, and that means that pathway is not going to give them college credit. It is going to give them a certification in the area in which they're working. That's one way. Another way is to also take a career pathway because you know you want to go into business or accounting or welding or electrical, but you want to get a 2-year degree in that program. So you go ahead and take those classes while you're in high school. Then when you graduate high school, you go to a 2-year community college. It may be you go to Halifax for dental, or it may be you go to Pitt. It doesn't have to be Edgecombe. It can be any community college. It could be down to Carteret where they're doing marine science. But you go to any community college and you continue because you've already got courses in that career. And then the third way of taking college classes is just purely for college transfer. It's not a career, it's not a certain area. It's not like just business or accounting, or it's not like medical office assistant or medical assisting. Instead, it's general ed classes. College English, college math, psychology, sociology, college history, geology, chemistry, biology, just basic general ed classes. Those are the classes that are also guaranteed by the state of North Carolina to be accepted at any state university or community college. There are 58 community colleges in our state. There are 16 universities. That includes North Carolina Central, A&T, Elizabeth City State, Pembroke, UNC Wilmington, Asheville, Greensboro, all of the UNC State, East Carolina, Carolina. That includes all of those. They will accept those credits. Now, if you took biology at ECC and you're a biology major, they're going to accept that biology for one of your biology classes. If you took biology at ECC and you're a history major, they're going to use that biology for an elective credit. So you have no way of knowing how that credit's going to be used because you don't know what your specific major is going to be yet. So the only thing the legislator guarantees is that it's going to be a credit, and it will either be one of your major credits or one of your elective credits, but either way, you got to have those in order to get your degree. So whether you go and get a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree, those courses will count toward that degree. So those are the 3 ways you take classes. I also want to touch on what Ms. Robinette said about, we've heard several students that say, I heard if you take too many college classes, you can't get scholarships. I'd like to know, or I'd like for you to go talk to every single person who's taken college classes. Don't talk to one person, talk to 20, talk to 30. Talk to all of those, the 41 at this school that took college classes last year and graduated. I don't know of that ever happening. I can say I think I know why some people might have that impression. There have sometimes been students who've gotten an associate's degree still in high school. Now, if you get a 2-year associate's degree while still in high school, you don't transfer in as a first-year student. You transfer in as a college transfer. Sometimes they were called junior transfers. Some scholarships are only available to first-year college students. So if that's the case, then that scholarship would not be available. That's not to say there aren't others. But 99% of the students who are taking college credits are not going to get an associate's degree. They're just going to bank college credits. And I will say, because I have a lot of students that come to me and say, I want to get my associate's degree. So I'd like to talk to you a tiny bit about that. An associate's degree, which is a 2-year degree, takes 60 hours. That means if they start their junior year, they have to take 30 their junior year, 30 their senior year. That means 15 each semester. That means 5 college classes every single semester. And if you take out 2 for the summer in between, that still means 4 one semester, 5 another, 4 another, 5 another, which is, in my mind, almost impossible and not worth the stress that it puts a child under. I mean, Ms. Robinette talked about her personal experience. I had my kids take college classes while in high school, but we didn't try to do an associate's degree because what we wanted was for them to get college credits. And here's why we want kids to be able to get college credits. One, it saves money. Every class they take while they're in high school, the class, the books, and the transportation is paid for. Between the state of North Carolina and NECP, everything is paid for. That is a tremendous saving. Even if you don't know what you want to do, even if you think, I might be interested in business, I don't know, maybe I want to own my own business one day, heck, let the state pay for you to take some business classes and see if that's what you want. You might not end up graduating with a business degree. You might not end up even owning your own business, but you've got some background and you know whether or not that's something you want to do. So one reason to take college classes is, while it's free, try out some things that you think you might be interested in. Because once you do get to college, it's really difficult to have the time or the money to do that because you feel like you're wasting all your precious resources. So sometimes that's a good thing to do while you're still in high school. Another reason to take college classes is because it teaches you 3 things that colleges are looking for. Time management. You have to post when they say post. You have to get online and take a test when they say get online and take a test. If you wait to the last minute, then you make a 0. It forces you to do some time management. It also forces some self-discipline. I know I'm going to be gone for the next however many days, so I better get as many assignments done as I can. It forces you to, I don't have this information. I don't know where they're getting it from. I'm going to have to email my instructor because I can't do that for you and Ms. Robinette can't do that for you. So it forces you to get out of your box and have to have some communication on your own. It also shows a college that you are interested in your education. Colleges no longer want students who aren't going to make it. They want to know you're going to make it on their campus. So taking college classes in high school helps them to see that you are going to make it while you're there. And that's going to be really important. And so if you choose to take college classes, there are different ways of taking them. I'll help you figure out what's the best way. I'll sit down with you and your parents if you want to. But there comes a time when registration ends and it's too late. And so if you think you want to take college classes, you must get a blue application from me or off my door, which is upstairs on the main hall, and get that filled out. You have to have your social security number on it, So you have to maybe have some parental support there. You have to get that turned back into me so I can call you in and we can figure out what's best. I did not bring them with me for one very important reason. If you want to take a college class, you make it happen. If you don't have the gumption to go to my office and find me or find that door and get a blue application, that tells me you're not ready for a college class. If your mama has to do it for you, that tells me you're not ready. So it's got to be you. Your mama's not going to my office. You're going to go up there and on the door find a blue application, take it home to your mom, get it filled out. A good thing about college classes is that it allows you to take baby steps for the transition between a small rural school and a large university or a large class, even at a small college. When I went to college, my dorm had more people than my town. And there was no such thing as a transition at that time. So you just died almost. I mean, literally. Now you have the opportunity to do that transition while you're in your parents' home, while they can still fuss at you a little bit. Have you done the assignment? But they can't get on Power School to see if you've done the assignment. It's a good transition between making those steps toward leaving the comfort of your family and the small community and being able to be successful wherever you end up going to college. There are whole different paths of getting to be where you want to be. You want to be a supervisor at a large plant, or you want to own your own business, or you want to be a doctor, or you want to be anything in the world. There are a lot of different paths of getting there. There's no more thinking, oh, you must go 4 years of high school, then go to a 4-year college, then go get a job. There are people that get jobs while they're still in high school that help them prepare. There are people that go to college while they're still in high school. There are people that go to college for a few years and then do a 2+2. 2 years at the community college, graduate in college transfer, not in a career pathway, but just in college transfer, so that you then take those 2 years worth of credits and apply it to a 4-year degree. And when you do that, your diploma doesn't say East Carolina and ECC. Your diploma says East Carolina. Your diploma doesn't say University of Georgia and ECC. It says University of Georgia. So if you take college classes, if you take them while in high school and then take them for 2 years out of high school, it doesn't matter how long you take them. When you transfer to a 4-year university, that's where you get your degree from. Or when you leave at 2 years and go to work for a company, then they see that you are prepared. They see your self-discipline. They see your time management. They invest in you. Then they send you back to school to be a manager or a supervisor or however it is you want to move up in that company. So don't let the timeline run out. We are in a timeline right now. I need to get these applications in the next 2 weeks so that, because ECC closes at the end of May, so we've got to get them in so that we can get you registered if that's what you choose to do. And then if you have questions, by all means, parents, you can ask the kids on my door is also a pink sheet that has all the classes and my email address. And anybody that comes to me, I give that to them so that you can contact me. And thank you, Ms. Robinette.
Now, I cannot tell you enough how awesome we are, how blessed we are to have that lady right there advocating and doing our stuff for Edgecombe Community College. She is hands down the best career coach. She knows her stuff and she is passionate about Edgecombe County and like making sure our kids get what they need. So I am so thankful to have her and to work alongside her. One thing that I do want to just clarify, to say real quickly, is we do require that every student take 4 classes every semester, okay? So what you'll notice for some of you is some of you even now are only on campus for 1 class and the rest of the classes are college classes, okay? We do require that at least one of those classes out of those 4 is on our campus no matter what. I need to be able to see their faces every day, okay? But as you kind of work through the system, you just know that we got to have 4, and some of you may not want to take the electives on our campus, so Edgecombe Community College is a great, great option. Okay, so I'm gonna switch gears for just a few minutes now, and I'm gonna actually start talking about how to prepare for senior year. We've got you healthy, we've got our classes done. Now what are some of the things that we need to be doing now to prepare? So I actually put this first because surprisingly, I say this first every year to every parent group. And I stand here now on April the 20th, and I can tell you, I still don't have this from about 20 of my seniors that are over there. So understand when I'm telling you this, it really does matter to me, and that is pictures. Like, that sounds so simple, guys, but this summer, as you are sitting at home, or you are kind of feeling nostalgic, if you will please start finding those cute and adorable baby pictures of your babies that you want to share with the world at graduation and or in senior ads. Or if you've got that cute Cub Scout troop picture that has all of those little boys all lined up at the Pinewood Derby picture, and they're just cute, can you please start sending those to me? I promise you, I have on my phone for every year. I already have a class of 2027 Google folder that I'm trying to like save pictures and save them and send them to this album, because that's how much I want pictures to be part of graduation. So again, I'm harping on that, but just with all sincerity, if you can start sending me pictures that you have, you can email them to me. If you don't have the ability to scan them in, I have a scanner. The students bring them to me. I can scan them and give them right back to you. So I need pictures. Then I need you to save the date, because your drape and tux pictures, and drape is that black thing where the girls wear this kind of V-neck, can normally wear pearls, and then the tux pictures for the class of 2023, that date is going to be July the 28th and 29th here at NECP. We're gonna try really hard to get most of them done on the 28th, but we may end up having to roll over into the 29th. So save that date on your calendar. You'll be getting more information about it. They'll be able to sign up for an appointment, but you will also be able to do like casual pictures and change clothes and do that. I know a lot of you already have your favorite photographer that you want to do senior pictures with. That is fine. We just encourage you to do your drape and tux pictures with us if possible, because that's what we're going to use in the yearbook. Okay? So save that date. All right, now I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to kind of go through some of these handouts. And this is homework for my students in the room. So I've got two things that I need, well, three technically, before we get out of school. But part of making a successful college application is, number one, the transcript. So that's a record of all the classes they've taken, GPA, class rank. So we got the transcript over here. We've got test scores, and I'm going to talk to you about test scores, and we'll kind of have that conversation. But guys, I cannot stress to you enough the importance of a good letter of recommendation when it comes to supporting these applications. Hands down, again, everybody knows that, you know, Caden got all these scholarships and all of our kids are getting these scholarships here. I tell you with all sincerity, it comes from those letters of recommendation of support. And those letters, those good letters, really, really, really have to be written over the summer, because that's when your teachers and your administrators have time and we're not already stressed. We will do it in October before a deadline if you ask us to, because we love you. But giving us the information before and letting us kind of draft a great letter will go a long way. And so how we draft those letters here is through two things. And first thing is this brag sheet. And basically what this is you're just going to go through on a piece of paper on a notebook, on a Google Doc, whatever. Tell me 3 words to describe yourself in a few sentences, okay? Again, tell me what course you've enjoyed the most. Because I may know you as the school counselor, and I may know you as, an English teacher or, a math teacher, but I don't know all those aspects of your life that need to go into a letter. So this brag sheet and answering these questions will help us. So you do the front, and then on the back of your page, also give us an activities resume or a student resume. And I've given you just a sample that you can look at, okay? Where you're gonna list your education, your awards, your athletics, your activities, community service, all of those things. Now here's what I'm gonna tell you how I do this in my house. Because y'all, I'm telling you, I've got 2 children and neither one of my children are good at keeping up with this stuff. Okay? So we created it as a Google Doc that is shared with mom and dad. Okay? So when awards day comes and they get highest average in health and PE, they're going to take that piece of paper and throw it on the kitchen counter. I'm going to might hang it up on the refrigerator, but before I take it down, I'm going to remember we need to add it to the Google Doc. Okay? We're going to make sure that when Senior Beta volunteers at the nursing home, yes, we include that under our community service. Because I promise you, you're going to get to a point where you're going to write so many essays and have to pull from so many different things you are not going to remember. Even now, if I asked you about something in 9th grade, some of you are not going to remember, and that's where mom and dad's come in, okay? So create that, and then give me a copy of it. So I'm asking, by May the 25th, you give me your brag sheet and a copy of your resume, with the understanding you're still going to be doing things over the summer, you're still going to be updating it all along. But then that tells me that you're going to ask, well, because you're going to give it to me, and then let's say you're going to want Miss Carpenter to write a letter of recommendation for you as well. You give that to her as well before she leaves for the summer. And you ask her, will you please write me a letter of recommendation? Just have it on file, and I'll let you know where to send it. That will make her job so much easier. So if you can get that to us before you leave from school, that will be absolutely fabulous. And again, I just say this, I have trained our teachers that if you ask for a letter of recommendation, their first response back to you as students is, okay, give me your brag sheet and your resume, and I'll be happy to. So this is important, and you will hear that a lot. So the sooner you can get that done, the better. The other thing is senior shirts, because I know that's important. And again, that does take time to actually get into place, because I would love for all of you to have your cool senior shirts that you can sport on the first day of school. If you have designs, if you will get them to me by the 25th, then what I will do is I will create a Google Doc with all the designs, and then all of the seniors vote on them. It's not anything I do, but if you have an idea for the class of 2023, just get that to me. Okay, so now we've got that part. We're kind of working towards, what all it looks like. How do we start preparing for applications? And while some schools will allow you to start applying this summer, and when I mean some schools, I'm going to mean a lot of your private schools. Wingate, Brevard, those are kind of the 2 first schools that most kids are going to apply to, because they're the first 2 that most schools are going to turn their applications on. But for most schools, you can't start applying until around August the 1st or August the 15th. So even though you can't submit applications until then, you can definitely be prepared for when that date comes. So the first thing you need to do is to create a CFNC account. And that is for every single senior, whether you're going to a 2-year school or a 4-year school. We need CFNC accounts. CFNC stands for College Foundation of North Carolina. It is kind of the default way that you're going to apply to college is through CFNC. CFNC is linked to Power School. And so when you apply to college, you have to send your transcript. And your transcript is going to be automatically sent using this account. So over the summer, use these instructions, set up your account, make sure you know how to access it, make sure you are ready to go with your CFNC account. I included this in here because it's kind of new, but it's a great option. CFNC has a new program just for juniors that you very well may want to sign up for as well. That will help you. All right? So you've got CFNC, and CFNC, again, is the default. But there are also 2 other platforms that we're going to use a lot, or actually probably 3, if you're going to a 4-year school, okay? The first one is Common App, okay? And so you're going to need to create a Common App account, and that's going to be your default kind of application system for your NC State, your UNC Chapel Hills, your Dukes, kind of your Wake Forest, your more prestigious schools, you're going to kind of default to Common App. So Common App requires essays. Those are the schools that you have to have essays for. Even though you can't start applying to those schools until August, you can absolutely create your Common App account and go ahead and start working on those essays now. And again, creating rough drafts, sending them to your English teachers, sending them to me, saying, hey, can you proofread this? Again, I've got a lot more time and a lot more mental capacity in August or in July than I do in October, okay? So again, start working towards Common App. Now I'm going to share, kind of just to explain the handout, this one right here that says Inline, okay? This is actually my handout to you for Common App. So let me kind of tell you what Inline is, just in summary. Inline is a widget, y'all know what I'm talking about, that kind of is attached to Common App that we as a school have that they let us use for free, that basically is going to be a tutorial for Common App, because Common App can be really confusing. And it's going to like give you when you follow these directions, it'll give you like a box that you can hover over that'll say, this is what they're asking for in this question. And it'll help you. So again, I do encourage you to use Inline. You don't have to. This was the first year our seniors used Inline here at NECP, and they absolutely loved it. Everybody who used it raved about it. But the instructions are there for that one. Now, so we've got CFNC, we've got Common App. There's also another one that's called Coalition App. Coalition App is very similar to Common App, except some of the Ivies, and by Ivies I'm talking about the Harvards, Yales, those programs, are really exclusive to Coalition. So why they use Coalition is because Coalition's essays are different than Common App's essays, right? So what they're trying to trick you into doing is not being the kid who applies the same essay to all the schools, and you really didn't put forth effort into Harvard over Yale, right? So that's where it gets kind of tricky. Here's where we learned this year through this class that I did not know, is that you get 12 applications in Common App, and then they're going to kick you out, and then you're done because that's all you can submit, and then you got to go over to Coalition. So I just tell you that to just think about the schools you're applying to. Just know, I'm going to throw a disclaimer in here at this point just to say there are fees associated with sending college applications. There's for some of these schools, there's big fees to apply. There are also fee waivers that are available to you. And so if you need a fee waiver, by all means, please ask me. I am happy to do it. Because we all, this year under COVID money, everybody here qualifies for free and reduced lunch at NECP. Everybody is going to qualify for a fee waiver, okay? So I just tell you that to know I'm not going to get in your financial business, but just don't pay these astronomical fees for things. Ask me and let me help you with that, okay? So then the last way to apply, which is really cool but just really new, is the Common Black Application Program. And this is for the HBCUs, the historically black colleges and universities. Most of them have come together. Sorry. I could. To put this portal in place. Again, creating this account, there is a $25 fee to apply, but it allows you to apply to all of these. Here's what I'm going to tell you about the HBCUs. If you are willing to travel out of state, there are a lot of full ride opportunities at an HBCU. Okay? That means there's a lot of free money that's available there, so don't discount that, but that's another option for you. Okay. I promise I'm talking fast, and I'm going to try my best to get y'all out of here. But let me give you another program that you have to do. And again, everybody has to do this. So again, while you're sitting there during the summer and it's a rainy day at the beach and you got your laptop, it's a great time to do it. And that is RDS. And RDS stands for Residency Determination System. Everybody in here is going to have to do it. And basically what they're trying to do is determine, are you a North Carolina resident? Okay? And you're gonna input information into a computer. It is not gonna ask your financials. What it's gonna ask you is about your driver's license number, your license tag number, those kinds of things. It's not gonna ask financials. It'll take you about 10 minutes to do, and then you're gonna get a number that the state is going to assign to you, and you're gonna use that number with all of your applications, and that's how you're gonna get in-state tuition for North Carolina, okay? But you can go ahead and do that this summer, get a head start on it, so that's something that's not waiting for you, okay? All right, the next analogy that I'm gonna tell you is FAFSA, and that stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Assistance. I always have to say that wrong, okay? So FAFSA is how we're going to pay for college. We're going to get you there, but then how are we going to pay for it? And again, there is a lot of free money that is available through FAFSA. There are also a lot of scholarships that are tied to FAFSA. The EDGE, which is the scholarship that will give you full tuition at Edgecombe Community College, you still have to complete the FAFSA, okay? So there's nothing you really need to do with FAFSA right now. Just know it's there. Know that we're going to be talking about it, kind of be looking at what information they need, and then we will have that in place. We will have a FAFSA night here where we will have people who will come and sit down with you, and you bring your tax returns and we help you do your FAFSA. Like we want you to kind of make all of those barriers go away for you. Okay, I said I'd go back to test scores because I think Mr. Franks is here again, and I think he's going to know what I'm saying when I say that right now I think we've got some unknowns with DPI, and so I just want to be clear. So about a month ago, I sent an email to all of you, and I said, please be aware that with the class of 2023, the state has now changed the ACT requirements to those state schools. So to get into East Carolina, to get into UNC Charlotte, it's gone up from a 17 ACT score to a 19, okay? That was a state requirement. And if you did not have that test score and a certain GPA, come senior year, we have to put you in some extra stuff per the state of North Carolina. Again, not NECP, okay? So there's that legislation that's sitting out there that I think is still active, okay? But I printed this email because I want y'all to know how fast things change. On April the 11th, we got an email that says, guess what? They're not requiring test scores to get into college for the next 2 years at any of the state schools in North Carolina. So, what does that mean for you? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Here is what I do know, okay? Some of you test really well. And some of you, I'm giving back ACT scores now. Your scores are fabulous. And you need to share those scores because they can make a difference, okay? For others of you who may not test as well, I don't think that all hope is lost. Because again, you don't have to send it and they're not going to ask for it. That just means that the other areas that you are looking at, the other areas of your application, like your volunteering, like your essays, like your letters of recommendation, they just need to be better. They need to be so strong to make up for those scores. Again, we can do that, but my advice to you is keep working on test scores, okay? I'm not willing to throw them out yet because even now, we still have some scholarships that our kids are applying to in the class of 2022 that are requiring test scores be submitted, okay? And so keep working towards that. If you think you can practice more and get a better score, by all means test again. I have fee waivers that will let you test for free. Just ask me, come see me. But just know, once upon a time, test scores were a killer, okay? And there was no way around it. They're still important and they're still a factor. I just don't know how or what it's going to look like. And it may be different for every school, but just know you need to probably be prepared to have that conversation, okay? And we can talk about that on a case-by-case basis as needed. Okay, so then scholarships. So we got to apply to college. We got to make sure we got all of our stuff in place to be ready for college. And then we got to figure out how we're going to pay for college. It is not too early to apply to scholarships now. I have created a Facebook group because that seems to be the most universal way of sharing things, which is the class of 2023. It's a private group just to NECP students, and I will share a lot of scholarship opportunities there. By all means, take what you can use, keep it, throw away, discard, ignore what you don't. But there are a lot of scholarships out there. There's a lot of good, reputable websites for scholarships. Again, this summer, kind of make that a thing. I can tell you in my house, what we set the rule for with Caden at the beginning of his senior year was I needed a scholarship or a college application done every week. He got to choose how he did it, when he did it, but I needed either a scholarship application completed or a college application done every single week. So what that meant for him was the NC State application required all the essays. So that one took him a while, so that wasn't what he submitted on the weeks he really worked hard on that one. On that week, then he would just do an easy kind of type in your name for a scholarship and roll with it. But again, you guys figure out whatever will work in your house, but just know if you give your students kind of a realistic goal of something that, you know, they can kind of work towards, that will help. All right, I'm gonna jump back over, because I'm gonna save some things last. And I've kind of given you this, which is, again, I'm big on checklists. So in my house, I would take this and I would put this on my refrigerator. And this is when my kid told me they were bored, or Mom, you know, what am I doing? Well, here, go do something off your checklist. Go mark it off. And so I have tried really hard to include all of the major things that I've talked about tonight in a short format so that you know what you need to have done that can help you before we start going into college. Going into senior year. I will add in here, because I put it here and I don't know that I've said it tonight. It is a requirement that every student, every senior, apply to a 2 or 4 year school. So that means Edgecombe, Nash, Wilmington, wherever. We've got to have you apply and accepted, and I will help you with that. And we require that everybody complete the FAFSA. Again, not requiring that everybody go to college. Let me be clear. But what we are requiring is that every student has the option to go to college if they choose. Okay? So the sooner you start working on this, the better that will be. I promise y'all I'm talking quick. I'm so sorry because I'm getting to some of this. I've also given you, I'm saving senior trip for last because I think that'll be a little bit longer conversation. I've also given you here, because again, I am the person who plans things out, and I can already tell you about a trip I've got in August and something that I want to do in January. So again, it says in bright yellow letters, things may change, but I'm going to do my best to honor this schedule. And so you can start to see where the dates are and what's going to happen. I'm even telling you the first day of school, because again, seniors are going to want to do a senior parade. We will help coordinate that with the town of Tarboro, kind of go ahead and get all of that stuff in place. We've got that, parent volunteers for breakfast. Going through here, I've got the dates, Herf Jones, how to pay for things. Because again, guys, if nobody's told you, I really, really don't know how to say it. Mr. Franks as a senior as well. Senior year can be really expensive. And again, that's not even related to a senior trip or anything. That's just your pictures and your applications and this and that. And so we really do try to spread it out and make it so it's a lot more affordable for you. But I've tried to give you a lot of the big dates here. I've also tried really hard, if you notice, typically our graduation is always going to be the Friday night before Memorial Day weekend. So if we hold true to that, then that dates will not change. Our senior banquet is typically the Friday night before graduation. So those dates still should be pretty firm. I don't anticipate us changing those. So again, as you're planning, if you have work calendars where you need to ask off in advance, these are things that you can kind of work towards. I will talk to your students about this in advance, but there are always 3 practices that we require the students to go to. I'm going ahead and giving you those dates now with the understanding they may change, but for the most part, your students can go ahead and plan and prepare and know what to kind of work around. All right, so that I have given to you as you plan for senior year. And then the last thing I'm really going to talk to you about before I end on the communication question is senior trip, okay? And one of the greatest things about NECP to me is that we do truly love these kids and we love getting them together. I'm so thankful to work at a school where we have administrators and board members who know that all learning does not happen in a classroom. And sometimes learning takes place, most recently, when you put 33 students on an airplane who have never flown before, and you have to practice etiquette about how to get on and off an airplane. That's learning, and that is 100% worth every dollar that they spend. We promise you have a good time. So here's what I'm going to say about senior trip. Number one, yes, it's going to be expensive in the whole scope of things. No, I really don't even have an itinerary to present to you for multiple reasons. So, first of all, you will always hear me advocate for Florida, okay? But here is why, and then I'm going to tell you the next things, okay? So I have done, at the county, this was my 17th senior trip that I just got back from, okay? I've done New York, I've done Atlanta, I have done those bigger places. They are great, but they require that you stay together as a group all the time. And you really have, or you've got to break off into baby groups and there's really no commingling of groups, okay? There's also a lot of safety concerns as you kind of venture into some of those bigger cities, getting everybody on and off metros, that kind of thing. We can do that. I am not telling you this is your senior trip. I can present it to the board. We can go that route. But typically, and again, just because I don't want you to take my word for it, I got it, I promise. Anyway, I have a survey. I have the senior trip survey from the seniors that just left. Overwhelmingly, they're going to tell you Florida and going to Florida is the best option because they can go into theme parks, they can go into venues, and they don't have to be with us like all underneath each other. And they can run into groups and, hey, let's hang out and let's do. And I promise you, by the end of the senior trip, these kids were interacting with people that they had never talked to before. It's so beautiful to watch. It's so amazing to watch kids who like roller coasters, who are going to ride things together, and those who don't, but who totally are cool with sitting there watching, everything. It's just so, so, so beautiful to watch. We do volunteering together while we're in Florida. We do all kinds of things. But right now, the prices for the tickets for next year have not been released yet. So I can't give you definitive kind of itinerary. And one of the seniors brought up a good point. Let the seniors vote on kind of where you want to go, what you want to do, what you want to see. But that being said, unless there is something I don't know about, I still think it's important that we move forward with planning the class of 2023 senior trip. And the first way that starts is by having the deposit to know who wants to go on the trip, okay? Because again, traveling with 10 kids is a lot different than traveling with 40 or 50 kids, and how we need to make that the most economical way for you. So, with that being said, is over the summer, I go ahead and tell you that the deposit for the senior trip is due on August the 17th of $300. Now let me clarify and say this right up front. Typically what my students are doing is they're paying for that trip in dollar bills, and I'm not even kidding. They are working at Ribeyes or Highway 55 or doing those jobs, and they're paying for their trip. This is not a trip of privilege. This is a trip of commitment. So I say that to say, once we get that initial deposit done, then we do fundraisers. The first fundraiser that we always do is Krispy Kreme donuts, and I had a parent who worked with their kid, and they fundraised their entire trip after the first fundraising sale. Like, no joke. We'll work with you, we fundraise, and basically if you follow the calendar, we have a fundraiser, we have a week for me to tally, then the money goes right, then that's when the payment's due. And you're fundraising strategically for your senior trip. There is no big pot of money we pull from. So what that means is, let's say you sell $500 worth of donuts, you've got $250 in profit, you've just made your next 2 payments out of your senior trip. It does not go to anybody else, it goes to you. So I keep up with all of that record keeping. Every time that there is a payment, I give you a printout that lets you know your balance. It's very, very transparent, very, very easy to see. But I say that to say you can kind of budget how you make this trip affordable for you. The other thing that we do that our kids really, really liked is we include meals in their senior trip. That's another great thing about Florida. The hotel that we stay in has a free breakfast that includes like making the Mickey Mouse waffles as a hot breakfast. My kids kind of described it like Abrams. But anyway, so they get that meal in the morning, and then they get a meal voucher at every single place we go to. So if you can just get there, I'm gonna make sure you eat, okay? So again, as you're talking about it with your families, I'll be happy to answer any questions about it. Again, we'll give you more information about it at the start of school, but I just wanted you to have that in the back of your head and know that that initial deposit is going to be really, really important, because that's what we're going to have to book travel and numbers based on, and then we can go from there. The other thing I will say too, included in your fees is travel insurance. We don't provide refunds, but one of the first things I do is pay for travel insurance out of that initial deposit. So then if something comes up and you cannot make any more of that money, then you can file that claim with your travel insurance policy to get it back. Does that make sense? So like, I don't give you the money back, but you can get your money back from a percentage purpose. All right, I promise y'all I'm trying to talk quick. The last thing I'm gonna say is the communication piece, and Ms. Drake and I have talked about this quite a bit. I love talking to parents. I genuinely do. But at this stage in the game, your kids need to be the ones beating down our doors, okay? Like, at this stage of the game, we really do need to be hearing from the students, because as much as we love you, they're the ones that we need to build that relationship with. And so what that looks like is we're sending emails. We send a lot of emails, and we know it, but it's the best way to communicate. But unfortunately, what we're getting right now is radio silence from your kids. And then we literally will stop them in the hall. Did you read my email? I think so. Could you reply to my email, please? Okay. And I say that to say I've had kids lose scholarships because they didn't reply to emails. So what we're trying to teach them is how to answer their emails, how to respond. Now again, I'm going to talk to you about it, and I'm not talking to you from a pedestal. I'm talking to you from a mama in the trenches of an ADHD son who does not check his emails. And I'm going to tell you, what I finally had to do was eat my words. And I don't have Caden's email on my phone, but on my desktop computer, I keep his email up so that I can go in and check his spam email and see if scholarship information goes to there, because I assure you he did not. And I can say to him, hey, did you reply to Ms. Drake's email? Whatever you need to do for your family, whatever kind of accountability piece you need to have in your house, by all means, if you figure out the magic number or the magic way to do it, please, please, please. But the end result is this. We literally are getting down to the end of registration for college classes, and a large number of kids have not replied. They are going to miss out. They are. And now suddenly they're going to be stuck. They're going to be forced to take 4 classes on our campus because we are not going to go back. That is a very small problem in the whole scope of senior year. If your student is not checking their emails and or checking social media and or replying to text and or coming to say, hey, Miss Robinette, how are you? You having a good day? Great, Jay, great, good job, have a good day. Something that simple matters because it keeps us in communication. It keeps us connected. And it is wonderful that they are talking to you, and it is wonderful that we are talking to you, but we genuinely need that relationship with the students, okay? So anything that you guys can do to help us with that would be greatly appreciated. Okay, I went 15 minutes over, and I apologize for that. Before I dismiss, because I gave y'all a whole bunch of information, are there any questions for the good of the cause?
When's the deadline for college
For next year, Ms. Drake, what date have you given them?
I haven't given a deadline. I said by the time school begins. I mean, we don't have them after that, so before school begins.
So May 25th would be a good day just because that's the date I need your, kind of make that like your magic date on your calendars. That's a good day. Yes, ma'am.
On that fee waiver that you were talking about, do you just need one for every college that you apply for, or do you need one for every college that you apply for?
That's a great question. So the way the fee waiver works for, because it's tied to testing. So basically what'll happen is you get a fee waiver to take the SAT or the ACT. You actually have to take the test, okay? So you go and you take the test, and then they will give you a code, and you enter that code, and you can use that fee waiver, I think up to 4 or 5 colleges that you can do that. Once you exceed that, then I can write letters, and I can say, can you please waive that kind of thing. There are some things in Common App that kind of, I can kind of click off and I can sign for you. But yes, but they're tied to testing fee waivers. So thank you, that was a great question.
I have 1 minute's worth.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Just to follow up, RDS that Ms. Robinette talked about that you can go ahead and do, it only takes 10 to 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes versus 30 days if you get something wrong on it. Be careful. Faster you go back and change over and over. RDS, you never get a chance to go back and change except through an appeals process. They're going to figure out if your child is in state based on whether or not you have lived in this state. They're going to ask you, what year did you get married? They're going to ask you your driver's license number. Where are you getting your power from? Have you lived at this address? How long have you lived at this address? Be careful. If you don't know, figure it out before you answer. It won't take you but a few minutes to figure it out. But if you get something wrong, they're going to determine your child is not in state, and it may take you 30 days and 300 pages of paperwork to correct it. So be really careful with RDS. Next thing, when you're doing scholarships, a lot of scholarships say this essay is optional. That means if your child opts not to do the essay, they opt not to read it. That's their filtering process for a lot of scholarships. So if the essay is optional, don't let your child opt not to do it, because that is their way of not even reading the scholarship application. So optional means take the step and do the essay, or else you're not going to get that scholarship. And the last thing, this is a year in the future. When your child does decide to end up going to college, you have no access to their grades or their finances unless they sign a waiver. Do as you want in my house. If you don't sign the waiver, sweet cakes, I'm not paying for you to go to college. Very simple. I had a very good leverage there. If they wanted me to pay for them to go to college, they had to sign that waiver for me to see their grades. Not so I could look at it every second, but so at the end of the semester, I know whether or not they passed a class. That's the only way you'll ever know. I know how much money I owe. Otherwise, you will never have access. So use that leverage to your advantage. Thank you.
No, she actually brings up a good point. And here's the other part. I'm really proud of this, because not only do our kids graduate and go to college, but like historically speaking, our kids are actually really successful in college. But I was talking to a student whose sister is at one of our major institutions in North Carolina who did not graduate from us. But long story short, the student has basically failed out after their first year of college. They're still living at said town. Like, parents have no clue what they're doing, thinking we're moving into an apartment, because parents don't see grades and they don't know. So that is actually a very, very real scenario that happens way too much. And that's another reason why we like kids taking classes on our campus. And some of you know this. Our kids can get in over their head. And that's okay. Even the best of kids are gonna get a class that is just hard. It's overwhelming. But teaching them how to work through that and not to ignore it and think it will go away, because it does not. And so anyway, just kind of that was actually really good advice, Ms. Drake. All right, anything else? Because again, we've thrown a lot of information at you. I hope what you will realize is that as you get home and start processing some of this, that it was actually very beneficial and helpful. And again, I gave it to you in just a big scoop, but as you need it and kind of pull from it, I am always available. You can shoot me a message, you know, anything like that. I will tell you this, just because I tell everybody this. I had to learn for my own mental health that I get your email at 8 o'clock at night, and my gut reaction is to reply at 8 o'clock at night. And then I get into like this whole conversation, and then I was like, oh. So anyway, I've gotten to a point, if you get emails from me, I schedule them. I'll reply at night, but I will schedule them to go out at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that is for my own personal mental health. But just know that, like, I promise you, I am reading it all the time, but I'm trying to learn to set boundaries for my own family, because I think it's important that the students know that they need to set those boundaries as well. So I just throw that out there. Thank y'all so much for coming. I truly appreciate it. Drive safe. Have a great night. Thank you.